Hey guys, I'm PJ with Best Sound for Video, and we're gonna show you today the best 5 tips or the 5 tips that I would recommend for somebody starting to think about getting great audio for your video. I'll give you all the specs that I can. I won't get too much into technical detail as I will leave that for videos that are coming into the near future. Any comments, any questions, please write them below. I'll try to answer as much as I can. I know this is a difficult topic as video and audio are usually the never-ending battle, but don't worry, I'll show you what I would do if I was in your situation with the tools you have and how to get the best sound for video. All right, the first thing that I will suggest to address is the position of the camera and the room acoustics. I've been watching some other videos where people explain the room acoustics, but they don't really take into consideration the multiple factors when recording location sound. One of the things when you're recording on a room, being for example a room like this, which is I would say 8x9 room, it's really small, but it doesn't sound as bad because I'm using a lavalier right here. You can see it right here. There we go. I'm using a lavalier mic, which is the best that, in my opinion, for this type of scenarios, is the ones that I use in professional movies. And here you can see the microphone that I'm using, which is a lavalier microphone. I'll be getting into the specs of this later on, but for now we're just going to talk about the room acoustics and the distance within you and your video camera in case you have a microphone on top of the camera, and why it's better to do a double recording instead of recording in your own iPhone or camera, which I understand for sync purposes would be the best, as is the fastest, but it's really not the best way of sounding. All right, so first I wanted to talk about room acoustics, all right? Room acoustics is kind of the most important thing when recording sounds. I left the window open and you can hear some kind of cars, automotive sounds, trucks passing by. There is a bunch of things happening. If we were to have a AC unit outside, you will hear the rumbling, which later on can be difficult to take off in post. I also do post-production, so I know how difficult can be where mixing and editing in between lines and the room tones are always constantly changing. We don't want that, because let me tell you something, your audience will forgive bad video, but they won't forgive bad sound. And this is rule number one. The first thing I will tell you is to stay away from corners, okay? Corners are no good for sound. Why? Because of phasing issues and reverberance. When you corner yourself to get the best sound possible, or thinking that you have padded that wall and you're getting the best sound possible, usually it's not the case. The case is that you could have some reflective surfaces, or for example the foam that you bought to put on the wall is not the best quality. There is dBs or decibels of suppression, of dampening that different materials have, and people usually go for the cheapest. So a good positioned microphone and a good position away from corners will save you some dollars. I understand that for video may not be the best option, but having said that, I can tell you how many countless times I've been recording professional videos and we have changed the position of camera just to get good sound. Also, away from corners. Second, windows. Windows are really important. If the only choice you have is to be close to a window, I suggest, if you have the chance, to put and invest on a double window. I know it sounds crazy, but a double window will at least prevent a lot of those sounds from getting in. Glass is very reflective as well, so if you have a surface that is glassy next to you, the sound could reflect on that surface, come back to the microphone, creating phasing issues. Phasing, it's something that we as sound engineers study during our whole lives. There is way more to phasing than just canceling the both waves, and they cancel each other, therefore sounding muffled like this and this. When you hear that there is a little bit of this effect happening on your videos, it could be because of phasing, or it could be because your mic is muffled. There is different reasons why this could be happening. So I suggest away from windows and away from corners as my main tips for starters, for beginners. Again, in the next videos, I'll start talking more about acoustics, room acoustics, what type of materials are good, which ones are no good, like the egg cartons, yeah, like the egg packaging. Some people I've seen to put egg packaging on the walls, thinking that they could dampen the sound a little bit, but it's definitely not gonna do what you expect it to do. I know it's a very budget-friendly choice. Again, if you are a YouTuber or a content creator in any platform and you want great sound, I suggest you buy expensive, cry once, and don't cry later. Because I can tell you, and I've been there, done that, you buy cheap and you cry and you constantly buy and buy and buy. Whereas if you buy once and you buy wisely, you'll cry less, and eventually within the years it pay off and your pocket will suffer less. Now, if you are recording, for example, let's say with the microphone on your iPhone, which I strongly not suggest for several reasons, which I will get more in depth in the next videos, it's very important the position that you have towards the camera, all right? So it's not the same to use the front microphone on the iPhone as the microphone on the bottom as the microphone that's on the camera. Let's do some changes and see how it will sound with different microphones on the iPhone. Alright, so you're listening to me right now from the iPhone back microphone. This is the microphone that will be next to the camera. The one we were using originally, well, I put a little bit of a recording that I just before cutting, and that will be the front microphone. So the selfie camera microphone is the first one that I show you. This one that I'm showing you right now is same distance, same exact distance, but with the microphone that's on the camera from the back. This microphone should be better. It doesn't necessarily need to be better in your recording, as the position of the microphone and how you project your voice, there is different factors that are involved in this, and I'll show you how the bottom one sounds now. So what you're hearing right now, it's the microphone that's on the bottom. Oh, that's a dog. Did you hear the dog? That dog, it's just because the window, it's a little bit open on the bottom. So closing the windows will greatly increase your audio quality. Just so we have a reference, I'll close the window right now and see if you guys hear any changes. Alright, this is the same positioning but with the window closed. You may hear some rumble from cars passing by or any trucks, and there is a construction right next to me, which is great for demonstration purposes. So I hope if they go and start any machinery, I hope to hear something on the background, which you guys can really notice if they use heavy machinery. So I will strongly suggest, if this is the case and you have a construction that it's non-stop working next to you and you are making videos, to wait until they're done at 6 p.m. or whatever time is that the workers go home, and you start recording your videos at that time. I know it's difficult, but again, people will forgive bad video, they won't forgive bad sound. It's very annoying to hear bad sound on the video. The next thing I wanted to talk about is what kind of mic to use. I'm using a lavalier microphone, as you can see over here, and you can hear how it sounds. It's a good position. It's kind of, unnoticed if it sounds good because it's really close to my throat, so it has that throaty sound. I would say even a little bit rusty sound. Usually the lavalier mics sound better on the chest cavity, as the resonance for the male vocals live on the cavity that it's in our chest. For the girls, it's the same. Chest is the best way of positioning the mic. Lavalier mics or lapel mics are omnidirectional, so you can point them up, you can point them down, or you can point them sideways. Why you can do this? You can do this because the mic is going to be on the same area. So now, for example, let's say if I have a window on my right, it shows us the left, but this is my right. and you are pointing the mic to the right, it's prone to capture more of the ambient noise that's outside, whereas if I flip it and I put the back of the mic towards the back, the off-axis rejection, which in this case it wouldn't happen because it's an omnidirectional mic, but still you'll hear those sounds just a little bit muffled. This is, the lavalier mic is good in case I turn my head. So for example, if I turn my head and I keep talking, you should hear a slight difference, but not as much difference as if it was with a shotgun microphone. The same if I keep talking and I turn my head to the other side, you will hear the sound. There is a car passing by right now. Let's listen to it. Okay, this is the kind of things that we want to avoid in our videos. How to avoid these things? Unfortunately, it's impossible. There is things happening on the street, there is dogs, people walking dogs, there is birds, there is traffic devices for AC, there is many things, refrigerators, there is, kicking in and out. There could be many things happening. So the best thing to do is prevent those things in your video. How? With the scheduling, super important, with properly positioning your camera and yourself on a room. So usually the shotgun microphone will go on top of your camera like this, pointing to where you're talking, so to the focal point, all right? So yes, you heard me right. There is a point where all the vocals are coming from, which you should focus your microphone on. Shotgun microphones are very unidirectional. Being a unidirectional mic, I don't have my shotgun mic over here, but if I turn my head and I start speaking to the left, you will hear a clear difference between the tonality of my voice with a lavalier lapel microphone and talking directed to camera. Also, the good thing is that they have a very good off-axis. What's the off-axis? The off-axis, it's the back part of the mic obviously captures less background noise as the diaphragm is facing towards you. So in this case, if you're using a shotgun microphone, you do want to point it out. You will want to point the back of your microphone to the noisiest part of the room, which would be a window, which would be glass, which will be anything that's creating a noise source that's going to get into your videos, into your recordings. And that's the main thing to avoid. Another good tip that I could give you is that if you are able to see what's happening outside from where you're recording and you see a truck coming, stop talking. Do not talk over the sound of the track because you will be fighting that sound, and then in post-production you will hear the clear difference, and it's way more difficult to take off in post than just to wait a couple of seconds, 5 seconds on your video and let it ride. Even cut and re-roll or whatever it is that your modus operandi is, please be conscious of what's happening outside. And if you cannot be conscious of what's happening outside, I strongly suggest that use your ears, and when you start hearing noises, stop talking, address that noise, and then keep doing the videos. My third tip will be gain staging. Gain staging is basically how you are, the different phases that your signal, your audio signal is going through. For example, I have a signal going through my lavalier, which is capturing all the sound. Then from there, I'm going into a portable recorder, and that portable recorder is outputting the sound through line level to the iPhone. That will be one of the choices. To do this, I will explain in the next videos how to do it. And you should have a 4-pole to a 3 or 2-pole connector adapter on your iPhone to convert your signal, line level signal, into a 4-pole signal, which is TRRS, which is what the iPhones, the new iPhones at least, are getting into. Now, I heard that they're gonna change the 8-pin lighting connector for a USB-C connector. That's the new iPhones coming. I hope that's true. I hope we all get to be more universal and use more the same cable for everyone, not the light thing connector on iPhones, and then the USB-C on Samsung, then the mini USB on Huawei's. There is many connectors that provide audio, but if you have the same connector for all your devices, it definitely makes your life easier. Which takes me to my next point. My next point is reference levels. What reference levels should you have? How do you know that you are hitting those peaks on the right exact decibel point that you want to hit to sound good on your videos? Well, usually in movies and television, we record from -6 to -12 dBFS in our recording systems. Now, on the iPhone, if you're recording on the iPhone, the lecture of the decibels could be a little bit different. So I will strongly suggest that at least you peak. So that means that on all the waveform that you're gonna see when you're editing your videos, the highest peak on the waveform should be at -6. That will give you 6 dBs of room to work with. And then if you wanna put music, you wanna mix some more elements, some more audio effects, you can definitely glue them together, which is not the right term because we in post-production don't like to use the term glue things together. So you mix the sounds together, and that will give you an overall peak of -3, where you will input that into your, that you will print that mix into your video and it will sound better. Also, you have to think about the format that the application that you're recording with, or the format that you are working with on your video editing software. Now, video editing software doesn't have the capabilities as an audio software, obviously, but there is many things we can do, and which I will cover in the next videos. There is tricks and tips which are very useful at the time of start editing a video. There is templates we can do. There is many different things that we can address before recording our videos, which will save us money at the end and time in front of the camera. And last but not least, I wanted to talk about another car. And last but not least, I wanted to talk about different types of recording systems. One being a double recording system, and the other one being straight to camera. I strongly suggest, if you have the chance to do a double recording system, that means you are recording everything on a separate recorder with a memory card, being SD, mini SD, CF, whatever card is that your system uses, or whatever card you want to use, and then you sync that on your video software. Nowadays, with everything we have on video software, it should be bread and butter to sync. This I will cover in future videos as well. If you guys use any software specifically and you want me to go through that software, I have no problem, as all of them are kind of basic for this stuff. And nowadays everyone should be using a software that would have the capability of syncing video and audio through a peak on the waveform. What is a peak on the waveform? A peak on the waveform is this. So you give a clap before you start recording your videos, and there is a peak on your waveform as well as a peak on the reference level that you shot on your iPhone or your smartphone or tablet. Good software, good video editing software will sync those peaks automatically, and in seconds you can have everything synced. I will cover this in the next videos. That's why we use slates in the movie world. That's why we use timecode in the movie world. I will be talking about timecode as well in my next videos. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview in the 5 different aspects that I will suggest addressing before starting to think about professional audio in your videos. I will be talking about types of microphones, microphone reviews, the microphones that I like. The microphones that I like, unfortunately, all of them are well over $2,000. So that's, I understand, for some people that's not an option. So I will be covering different types of, like, the cheapest mics that I can find on Amazon, the cheapest mics I can find on eBay, everything that, you know, I can possibly get my hands on, as well as soldering tips, how to solder for new iPhones. Is it possible to solder a old lav for a new iPhone? All these types of questions that I've get a lot lately, I will be covering, so you guys can learn and make sound better. And that's all for today. That's my intro for the channel. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys learn something, and please subscribe to the channel. I will be posting as many videos as I can. I just had a newborn baby at home, so I'm super happy, at the same time super tired, but I will be doing these videos. Any questions, any concerns, anything that you guys want me to talk about, please put it on the comments and I'll be happy to go through everything. I have almost 15 years of experience now in the sound world. That's what I do best in my life, so I'll be happy to share again any information. Please press like on the video, subscribe to the channel, click on the little bell that's on the next to subscribe, and hope to see you soon. Bye.